apologies, everyone, for
Right.
keeping you waiting.
Recording in progress.
All right, let's start this off with Nikki K.
Greg, what was your message to the guys tonight?
Yeah, again, that we get ourselves in the hole, that there's still 1/3 of the season left, but at the same time, we've got to stop being in this position and having this discussion. And we talked a little bit about some of the reasons and some of the things that we need to be doing, but we didn't get too tactical in the moment or too much into the game overall. So I think, the group is, there's certainly belief in the group, and there's certainly frustration in the group, but at the same time, I think we have 2 home games back to back now, and we got to go home and defend our home turf. And with 2 home games, and if you get 2 good results, then you know how quickly things can evolve in MLS and move in a positive direction. And so this was a busy week. In the first half, the game got away from us. Again, we do the same thing that we've done in some of these games that got away from us. We get 2 back, and we feel like maybe there's something down the stretch, but that's that. So that's where we're at.
Where does the point of emphasis begin in training this week?
Yeah, again, I think, from a defensive perspective, there's a couple of things that happened through the course of the first half, which is we're a team that plays some positional play, right? We got to fill our areas. We've got to do our jobs. We've got to connect with one another in our spaces, move with the right guys, not end up on the other side of the field. The ball needs to keep moving. We can't lose balls on dribble. We can't put ourselves into bad transitions, and we can't expose ourselves because guys on the left end up on the right, and now we don't have somebody covering us defensively on the right or on the left, sorry. We need to track runners when runners go through our lines. There's certain things like that happened over the course of the night that unbalanced the group. I felt like there were a group that sat on us a little bit. They kept it a bit clogged up. We tried to dribble through some of those situations when the ball just needs to move through those. And they put us, because we dribbled and carried and overplayed it, we put ourselves into difficult transitions. When you put yourself in transitions, you expend a lot of energy, but you also expose yourself on that side of things. We look to try to keep a fullback in a holding position just to manage the transition a little bit better. But I still felt like we had the opportunity on the first goal to track a runner that would have been pretty simple. Would have dealt with the guy who ends up scoring, but we kind of let him go. I don't know if we're trying to catch him offside or we just don't track the run, but we let the guy go through our line and we don't deal with it, and now we're behind the game. So it's moments like that. But tonight there was too many of them.
And lastly, an uncharacteristic and costly mistake by Julian at the end of the match there. I saw you talking to him on the field post-game. I guess what was your message and communication with him?
Yeah, to keep his head up. I mean, it was a costly mistake, of course, and we had fought ourselves back into the game, but we still had a lot of work to do to get ourselves the 3rd goal. We need Jules to be at the top of his game. I tried to give him a little bit of a chance to catch his breath. He's played almost every minute of the season. I felt like in the last couple of games, he's looked a little bit tired or a little bit kind of behind it a little bit. So I tried to give him a chance this match, and using Kelvin as a kind of a control right back. Tried to give Jules a chance to just catch his breath a little bit, because again, he's played a lot and he's traveled a lot this year, and we've seen him have some moments, and unfortunately he had one at the end of the game, but it wasn't the decider of the game, and it's important for a young man like that to keep his head up and keep playing.
Thanks, Coach. Safe travels.
Yeah, thanks.
Next we'll go to Josh Gespin.
Hey, Greg, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I wanted to go back and touch a little bit on the formation. You guys started, I think, in a 4-4-2 with Leerdam and Gasper there. Were you hoping to maybe get a little more sound defensiveness or stay at home from the outside backs to start that game?
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys are a little bit more defensive priority guys with more experience in the positions than the other two. With Kelvin, for sure, his role was to stay at home to be with Derek and Sega, and Chase's job was to give us a little bit of width on the outside so that Douglas could play sort of outside in, and then we could shape up into what looks a little bit more like a 3-5-2 to allow our two forwards to keep the overload in the midfield and to allow our two forwards the possibility to kind of be on the field and still cover ourselves. And so that was sort of the shape, so that the three could then try to control some of these transitions if balls turned over. But again, there was some density through the middle of the field because they didn't really come out defending too much. And when that happens, the ball just needs to flow. It needs to get from guy to guy. You need the ball movement, and the player movement is what softens up the defending that is pretty compact. And like I said, instead we over dribble, we carry balls across the field, we move out of our positions and end up on the other side of the field. And what ends up happening is, again, you get unbalanced. You have the wrong numbers on one side of the field versus the other because we're kind of overplaying maybe because the spaces are tight, or we're trying to do more than we need to, other than let the ball do the work, maintain our balance, maintain our shape, move with your players on your side, don't disappear and end up on the other side. Because if the ball turns over, we have a gap that we left when we went from one side to the other side. It's the principles of positional play, and in the first half we really I felt got ourselves a bit disjointed at times because of that.
To follow, I think even more with Douglas Costa in that same formation, was he supposed to be tucking inside as much as he was, or floating free? What did you want to see from him?
Well, certainly not floating free. That was not the idea. He could take up a wide position. If he did, then one of the forwards would fill in underneath into that space that he would open up. If he came inside, then it would open up for Chase to come around him. So he had some role to be fluid on the outside, to take wide or come inside into the gap if Chase was coming around, like I said, but not to just go free and to go deep or to go to the other side or go around, which is a little bit of, at times, where we get unbalanced. And then if we lose the ball in the dribble or we lose a simple pass and we put ourselves into a transition, now we have an overlapping fullback on the left side, and our gap player on the right side, or on the left side, is now on the right side. So you end up with a vacancy in an area that becomes very important, and it puts stress on you in the transition. And so whether it was Douglas or at times anyone else, it becomes an unbalancing of things. And when you play, in my opinion, when you play against teams who sit in a low block, you have to be very careful about unbalancing yourself by just going all over the place. You have to let the ball work. You have to play and work in your chains, if you will, on the side, so that you don't unbalance yourself on the counter press or the defending in transition. And I felt like I said, we exposed ourselves a few too many times, for sure, in the first half, which led to some transitions, but also it led to some set attacks where we just didn't even have our left midfielder at the time, or we didn't have a player that needed to be in his position. They were gone, and we were trying to then compensate too much, which left gaps in what we were trying to do.
My last one, did you get a chance at all to take a look at the second goal, the one that they VAR'd and said that it went over the goal line? And did you have a view on a possible offside before that?
So the guys on the bench who were with me have video running during the course of the game. They said to me the ball wasn't over the line. That was their impression of it. Now, they don't have every single angle there is, and there was a sense that the offside happened in the ensuing attack. And so they felt both things. So we felt like this thing wasn't going to happen because we felt like the ball wasn't in. My problem with all of this is that these camera angles are never perfect and they're never great. And there's this threshold that's supposed to be clear and obvious. It's black and white. Either the ball is over the line or it's not over the line. It shouldn't take you 6 minutes or 5.5 minutes to figure out whether it's over the line or not over the line. It's clearly not clear and obvious, in my opinion. I haven't seen it, but these are the things I just don't understand. And maybe I'll look back and say I'm incorrect. I don't know what your thoughts are on the situation, but my frustration is that clear and obvious should be clear and obvious. It shouldn't take forever to figure out if something is there. And and that to me is there. The offside, I thought it was offside in the original play, yes, and I didn't think it was across the line based on the information I got from our guys. I have not watched it back yet.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Greg.
All right, thanks everyone.
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Hi, Josh. No worries.
Oh, hey, Kevin, can you unmute Jonathan? I can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, I got you. All right, I guess we'll talk about the game in a whole, but I want to go to the VAR call, the second goal, where I think you made about 3 goal line saves there, and VAR ended up overturning it from an angle that was probably 25 or 30 yards up the field, to show that ball definitely went across the line. Did you have a sense of whether the ball went over the line or not?
I didn't, to be honest. I didn't really know. I just wanted to make sure that the ref knew 100%, because obviously to give a goal and overturn an on-field decision, then there needs to be like a clear and definitive angle, and I would just like to see what angles he looked at to see it. From the angle that I've seen, the only one that kind of makes it look like it went over the line was one from very far away, so I can't really comment more than that. And then there was a possible offside in the build-up as well. I thought if it was one or the other, it maybe looked like he was just leaning offside. So kind of the two things combined, I was surprised that he gave onside and goal from the angles that we could see.
To talk a little bit about the game, it's not often that a goalkeeper gives up 4 goals, and you had a pretty big game. Having said that, I don't know that many of these were necessarily on you. What did you see from this game, and does it fall into a pattern that you guys have fallen into many times, in fact 7 times this year, where you've allowed 3 or more goals, and I think 5 times in the first half you've allowed a 3-0 score?
Yeah, it's just too many times we're coming in at half time and the game's almost done. You know, it's crazy that we almost come back in most of these games, but it's even crazier that we're even in that position in the first place. We're just too sloppy all over the pitch, giving away easy balls, trying to dribble in areas where we shouldn't dribble, making bad decisions, taking risks. We give the ball away when we're not quite in the, we're not in their final third, and then we're constantly in transition, chasing back, space everywhere, runners everywhere, and then it's not just a midfield or a frontline thing that was said in the locker room. It's everyone. As a backline, we need to stay with runners. If we're going to play people offside, they need to be offside. If not, then we need to go with the runners. But then I guess we wouldn't have to make so many decisions if we weren't so sloppy on the ball as well. So it's kind of a collective thing, and and even going forward, when we do get the first goal, we tend to get positive results, and we need to be more clinical going forward with the ball and take our chances.
Is there any optimism sort of for this last third of the season for you guys? The losses are stacking up. The points that you guys need to get to the playoffs are slipping away. You have some home games, and I think Greg mentioned us, it's still a third of the season, but after some of the last league performances, at least, it doesn't seem like things are clicking at all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that at the moment. We have to find it within ourselves to change it. The only saving grace is the first of all, it's what we've got in the locker room, but second of all, it's the format of the league, in that the last 10 games of the season, if you do pick up some momentum and just pick up one playoff spot, suddenly it is all to play for in a knockout competition. It's not like a traditional league where now we're nowhere near the top and we've got no chance. We know what we have to do to make it to the post-season, and then it's anyone's. That's kind of one of the positives of being in the position where we're at with a league like we're in.
Thanks, Jonathan. Travel safe.
Cheers, Josh.
All right, next we'll go to Sophie.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hi, Sophie.
Hey, how you doing? I know it's a tough night, and you've been on our show and talked with Kevin Campbell, who played the game at the highest level. He and I often argue over games like this because, I usually allude to the manager also having to be accountable for results, but he always says that once the players cross that white line, it's down to them. We talked about that a little bit when you were on. He's the ex-player, you're the current player, and I'm pretty sure you both know better than me. But what is your take on that? And what's happening in training that's a stark difference to what's happening in game on game day?
I think first of all, I don't know if some of the guys in the locker room know how lucky we are to have a coach like Greg, who wants to play the way he plays, the amount of chances he gives everyone, the patience he has with us, the opportunities he gives to the young players. I've been a professional for 13 years, and I know that coaches like that are hard to come by. No one wants to play defensively, play long ball, and just always go with like the older guys and all that kind of stuff. It is hard to come by, and to a point I feel for him that you're even asking me that question, to be honest.
I'm only asking it because obviously the fans are so disappointed.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. I get that because before I came to the club, I know that the club had gone through a tough period, and there was a lot of optimism. When I or Greg or whoever there was change at the club, and I do feel like we've got what it takes to change and win things here. It's just not. We just need to apply ourselves better. We need to stop thinking that we're just way better than the opposition and we're just going to turn up and our quality is going to show. Like it's been 18 months now. We can't just rely on quality. That was one of the things said after the game. I don't think we can quite say we're as good as what we think we are. We have to. One of the things said in the locker room again afterwards was, we're coming up against teams that maybe that don't have as much quality as us, but they know that hard work can get them results, and we're kind of relying on our quality rather than maybe application or just doing the basics right. And at the moment we're not getting the basics right. We're doing sloppy things, we're putting ourselves in bad positions, we're going behind every first half, and then it's just a mountain to climb, and we're quite a young emotional team. So as soon as we concede the first goal, we don't know how to react positively, and we find ourselves down 2-3 at half time. It's just obviously not good enough because it completely kills the game. It's a very frustrating scenario and situation. We just need to do the basics better, basically, all over the pitch, and we need to lose the ball less. People need to stay in their positions and do the right thing. I'm including myself. We just need to do the basics better, and usually if you do the basics well over 90 minutes, I think, in this league, then you have a more than 50% chance of winning the game, I think.
Thanks, Jonathan. Always appreciate your candor.
Thanks.
And last question will go to Rob.
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for taking the time. Just to piggyback on kind of Josh's question, with 11 games left, what's the mood in the locker room? Do you feel like Ricky Puig arriving a little bit later over the next week or maybe the week after that will give the locker room a lift, or does that even need to happen? What are the spirits like in there?
No, we're not thinking about Ricky kind of joining us. We're just worrying about ourselves at the moment. Obviously, hopefully he can give us a lift. Usually new players coming in do give that lift and a little bit of energy to everyone. But we can't be relying on new players coming in and saving us, kind of thing. We have to get our own stuff right first. We have to be better before worrying about kind of help from the outside. It's tough on everyone. We've put ourselves in this position, but we know that when we come in from games like this and results like this, what to expect from the media, the fans, the expectation that comes with this club, and we now have to deal with that again, really. And we now need a good week of training, 2 home games coming up. We need two good results. Simple as that, really. Because, like Greg said, we've still got a third of the season left.
All right, thanks for your time,
Jonathan.
Thanks, Bondi. Safe travels.
Thanks, guys.
What went wrong tonight?
I mean, that we lost the game. We conceded so many goals, and we lost the 3 points. To go very specific, I don't think it will be responsible. We all here trying to do the best. We need to improve all together as collective, and I don't know, it's difficult to put in words when you concede 4 goals and you go back to LA with nothing.
We saw your leadership emerge. You scored the brace, but off the field, as you move forward heading into this week in training, how do you make sure this team stays together and stays united heading down the stretch of this season?
I think everyone should be very responsible. The coaching staff with Greg are going to keep doing their best, their job. And like last season, we're lacking of consistency, and I think that we cannot keep doing the same mistakes, all of us, as a collective, as a team. And we need to keep working on Monday. Unfortunately, I cannot be with my team training. I'll be in the MLS All-Star with Julian and everyone else. I'm not trying to do my best over there, to stay fit so I can come back and play a very tough game against Seattle, if I'm not wrong, at our place at LA, at Dignity. So we need to improve. I think it's not about hard work. I think right now it's more about work smarter, and I think that's the only thing I can say.
And Javi, lastly, what can you say about the play of Jonathan Bond tonight and what he did to try and keep you guys in this game?
No, he did an amazing job. He saved the penalty, and he saved some other chances. He tried to do his best to lift us up, same as myself and everyone else trying to do the best. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough. It's very difficult to try to win a game when you are 3-0 at the first half.
Thank you so much, Javier. Safe travels home.
Thank you. See you.